The eyes cannot see the Supreme Entity. Why can't they see him? The subject can only see its object. The eyes, as the subject, receive the form tanmatras as their object. But where the eye organ is the object, the Supreme Entity is their subject, and thus remains unseen. The object cannot perceive the subject. If the eyes wants to transform their subject into their object, they would have to fully identify themselves with their subject. Only then will the eyes be able to visualize the Supreme Entity. That, in effect, will be tantamount to seeing one's own self. The knower, knowledge, and knowable will then be fused into one. The Supreme Entity is beginningless and endless. Only if all the light waves emanated from his infinite body strike your eyes can you clearly see him. But even if the Supreme Entity could be the object of your eyes, you do not have the capacity to receive his entire form tanmatra. You cannot see the entire Himalayan range at the same time because of its vastness. And this range of mountains is only an infinite small part of the Supreme Entity. How can you hope to ever see his vast macrocosmic body? The human sense organs can only perceive tanmatras within a very limited range. Anything outside that range remains beyond the scope of perception. Waves of very high or very low frequencies cannot be perceived by the sense organs. So, being handicapped by such a limited capacity, how can you grasp that entity which is unlimited in all respects? Owls and moles cannot see anything in broad daylight, because their eyes do not have the capacity to receive the brightness of the day. If these creatures were to deny the existence of the day, simply because they cannot see it, we would call it totally ludicrous. It would be equally ludicrous for ordinary people to deny the existence of the Supreme Entity because they are unable to perceive him with their limited sense organs. That which comes within the periphery of mind is its object or problem, and the means by which the mind is related to its object is termed sense perception. The faculty of knowledge is the faculty of consciousness, and not the faculty of mind. Whatever people say they know, quote, know about an object is only their sense perception, and not real knowledge, and that sense perception remains unsubstantiated in the absence of eye-feeling. Human beings cannot explain the Supreme Entity with their vocal power, because that vocal power is his own objective expression. The seed of the vocal power, with all its latent possibilities, lies in him. When that vocal power gradually unfolds into a sprout, a sapling, and finally a tree, it is expressed through words. Even then it is only a minute expression of his supreme power. In the initial stage, one's vocal power lies latent as Parashakti, primordial desire. In Muladhara chakra, Parashakti is an undeveloped state of verbal expression. When the internal desire of speech arises, Parashakti is awakened and starts its upward journey. At Svadhyaya chakra, we visualize the next form of material speech, called Pashanti Shakti. Pashanti Shakti permits people to visualize an idea according to their inherent samskaras. That is, people mentally visualize what they are going to articulate. At Anahata Chakra, Madhyama Shakti transforms Pashanti Shakti into mental language, which seeks to find expression through dance, gestures, or speech. This inner urge to vocalize the mental language is externalized through Dyutamana Shakti, which operates between Anahata Chakra and Vishuddha Chakra. Finally, with the help of Vaikari Shakti, Dyotamana Shakti takes the form of language. Where Vaikari Shakti does not function properly, we say that the ideas are there, but the person can't find the right words to express them. In the case of mute people, Vaikari Shakti cannot function properly due to a defect in their vocal cords. In spite of the proper functioning of Parashakti, Pashanti Shakti, Madhyama Shakti and Dyotamana Shakti, mute people are unable to give vocal expression to their mental ideas. Even if Vaikari Shakti functions properly, linguistic expression does not take place. If Vaikari Shakti does not come in contact with the fundamental factor either, carrying the sound waves, the energy which makes sound audible to other people, is called Shruti Gochara Shakti. Thus, if Parashakti is the subject, Pashanti Shakti is its actional expression. If Pashanti Shakti is the subject, Madhyama Shakti is its actional expression. Similarly, the actional expression of Madhyama Shakti is Dyotamana Shakti. That of Dyotamana Shakti is Vaikari Shakti. That of Vaikari Shakti is Shruti Gochara Shakti. When the vocal power established in Vaikari or Shruti Gochara Shakti is so limited, how can one aspire to describe the supreme knowing faculty? Scholars with the help of Vaikari Shakti waste a great deal of time and energy in debates and discourses. By virtue of Vaikari Shakti, one can never find the supreme answer to the supreme question. Acharya Shankaracharya also said, Vak Vaikari Shabdajari Shastra Vyakyana Kaushalam Vairushyam Vidusham Tadvat Bhuktaye Natu Muktaye. The vocal cord and Vaikari Shakti produce many words which are but tools for scriptural interpretation, a pedantic expression of the scholars. This may lead to personal satisfaction, but not to liberation. The external object or the mental object which people normally construe as Brahma and worship in a crude form as an idol cannot be the supreme entity.